Hey everyone, tonight we're kicking things off with the incredible story of Miyamoto Musashi, the famous Japanese swordsman, artist, and philosopher whose unwavering spirit helped define the way of the samurai. From his undefeated duels to the wisdom found in the Book of Five Rings, Musashi's legacy still resonates with us today, inspiring warriors of the mind and those who wield a blade. So, before you get too comfy, please take a quick second to like this video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is for you. It's always interesting to see who's joining us from all over the world. Now, let's dim the lights a bit. Maybe turn on a fan for that nice background noise, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your story starts way back in 1584 during what historians like to call a complicated time in Japan. But if you, as a newborn, could actually talk, you might have called it a complete and utter mess. The Sengoku period, or the Warring States era, wasn't about elegant tea ceremonies. It was more about who could stab someone in the back the fastest, move armies quicker, and build the biggest castles. Basically, it was medieval Japan's version of a super-aggressive real estate market. Except instead of losing a bidding war, you lost your life. You're born in a small village called Miyamoto, nestled in the rugged hills of Harima province. Your family isn't exactly swimming in cash. Forget luxurious silk diapers. You were probably wrapped in rough peasant cloth and given a wooden spoon to swat away the cold. Congrats. Life hands you your first training weapon at birth. Your father, Shinmen Munisai, is a professional swordsman. And when I say professional, I mean he takes the art of slicing things very seriously. He's a tough guy, a strict teacher, and definitely not the type of dad who wants to just toss a ball around the yard. No, his idea of bonding time with his son would have been something like, "Here's a wooden sword, Musashi. Try not to cry when you fall. Okay." Affection is rare, praise is even rarer, and gentle hugs are pretty much non-existent. But in a brutal, unforgiving world, being soft could get you killed. Your father wasn't raising a child. He was forging a weapon. From the very beginning, there's a wildness about you. You're not the neat, well-behaved kid who bows politely and memorizes poems. You're scrappy, unruly, and probably always covered in mud. While other kids were playing tag, you were probably figuring out how to ambush them from behind a tree and declare yourself the victor. A little foreshadowing for your future career, perhaps? In short, from the moment you opened your eyes to the bright Japanese sun, your destiny was already whispering in your ear. You weren't meant to live a quiet, peaceful life. You were meant to fight, to wander, and to carve your name into history, one duel at a time, preferably while looking a little disheveled. And judging by the state of the country, you were about to get plenty of practice. Your playground isn't a grassy field or a cozy backyard. It's the hard-packed dirt of Miyamoto Village, where the wind smells like smoke, steel, and a little too much horse. Forget lullabies and fairy tales. Your bedtime stories are about heroic samurai slicing enemies in half with a single swing. Your crib mobile? Probably a few rusty swords hanging precariously from the ceiling. From the moment you can walk, or rather, stagger like a tiny, drunk warrior, your father Munisai has you gripping practice swords. While other kids are learning to write simple kanji, you're learning how to block a death blow. Call it an unconventional education. There are no participation trophies in your house. If you lose a sparring match, you don't get a cookie. You get a fresh bruise and a lecture on why hesitation equals death. Munisai is a hard man. Legend says he won official duels under the Ashikaga shogunate, but parenting wasn't exactly his strong suit. His love is sharp-edged, practical, and delivered with the subtlety of a cannon blast. Praise? Maybe once when you didn't fall flat on your face after a particularly heavy blow. Otherwise, silence. Because in his mind, survival is its own reward. And yet, something in you thrives under this pressure. While other boys dream of feasts and fame, you dream of the rhythms of battle, of predicting an opponent's next move before they even make it. You don't see the sword as just a weapon. You see it as an extension of yourself, like an iron heartbeat echoing in your hands. You are not coddled. You are not comforted. Instead, you are honed day after brutal day, like a blade against a whetstone. Even as a young boy, you start to grasp the cold truth of your world. Victory isn't about being stronger. It's about being smarter, faster, and just a little bit meaner than the guy standing across from you. The villagers whisper about you. That wild kid with the stare that's way too intense for his age. That boy who never cries when he's bleeding. Some shake their heads. Some nod in respect. But one thing is clear. By the time you're barely a teenager, you're already something different. Not just a boy. Something far, far more dangerous is growing inside you. It happens when you're 13, that awkward age when most kids are trying to figure out how to catch a fish or maybe survive a spelling bee. You, however, are preparing to commit legalized murder. Welcome to feudal Japan, where puberty comes with a side of sword fights. A traveling samurai named Arima Kihei shows up in town. He's from a local martial arts school, and he's arrogant enough to think a village boy wouldn't dare challenge him. Big mistake. Word spreads like wildfire. Musashi is going to duel a real samurai. The villagers gather, whispering and placing bets under their breath. Even your own family looks at you the way one might look at a chicken walking into a fox's den. They expect a massacre. They expect you to be the one lying on the ground, bleeding and humiliated. But here's the thing, you're not interested in losing. You're 13, scrappy, furious at the world, and wielding a wooden sword that still smells like firewood. It's not exactly the stuff of heroic legends. Yet, when the duel starts, Arima Kihei does what seasoned swordsmen often do. He underestimates you. Maybe it's your size. Maybe it's the fact that you probably still have dirt smeared across your face from that morning. Big mistake number 2. Without any formal bowing or dramatic speeches, you lunge forward, fast, savage, driven by pure instinct. You catch him completely off guard, crashing into him with all the grace of an avalanche. Before the villagers can even gasp, before Arima can even gather himself, he's on the ground, groaning, bleeding, and completely humiliated. A grown samurai bested by a barefoot teenager wielding a glorified tree branch. You don't just win. You announce to the world that Musashi is not a name to be ignored. It's a name to fear. Of course, your father's reaction is complicated. Pride, maybe relief, certainly, but also a hint of fear, because even Munisai can see it now. The boy he forged is starting to surpass even his most brutal expectations. As for you, you feel nothing but clarity. You were born for this, not to farm, not to bow and scrape, but to duel, to defeat, to rise. First blood has been drawn, and somewhere deep inside your young heart, you realize it won't be the last. You'd think after your first public duel and public victory, life might calm down a bit. Maybe a nice apprenticeship, maybe a stable job carving sandals or fixing roofs. You know, something normal, but no chance. At 15, you make a decision that most adults wouldn't dare. You leave home. No tearful goodbyes, no packed lunch, just a sword, a tattered travel cloak, and a stubborn refusal to live anyone's life but your own. You become a wanderer, a ronin. In a world where status is everything, where being tied to a lord offers protection and purpose, you choose absolutely none of it. It's like showing up at a medieval job fair, flipping the table over, and walking into the woods whistling. Why? Because deep down, you know that if you tie yourself to someone else's house, someone else's rules, you'll never become the warrior you're meant to be. You're not here to play politics. You're not here to shine armor and pour sake for some pudgy lord. You're here to master the sword on your own terms or not at all. Of course, wandering isn't exactly glamorous. You sleep under trees, not silk canopies. You eat whatever you can find, which often means rice if you're lucky, bark if you're not. Your traveling companions? Mostly crows, stray dogs, and the occasional curious peasant boy whispering, "Mama, why does that man look like he hasn't bathed in a year?" But you don't care. The wilderness becomes your dojo. The rivers sharpen your senses. The cold wind teaches you patience better than any old master. And with every mile you walk, you shed another piece of the boy you were. The village kid with muddy feet? Gone. The ambitious teenager who beat a samurai? Still there, but growing into something fiercer. You start seeking out dojos, challenging their best students to duels, learning from every swing, every miss, every victory. Your skills evolve quickly, too quickly for the world to keep ignoring you. People start whispering your name along dusty roads and in smoky inns. There's a wild Ronin out there, a boy with a blade sharper than most men's minds. And somewhere on those endless roads, a new thought begins to grow inside you. Maybe the sword isn't just for killing. Maybe it's a path to something bigger than mere survival. You just have to keep walking. If there's one thing that sets you apart from the other samurai of your time, it's this: you don't look the part at all. The typical samurai struts into town with his hair neatly oiled, his armor polished to a mirror shine, his swords tucked neatly at his hip like badges of honor. Meanwhile, you show up looking like you just wrestled a bear. And maybe you did. Your hair's wild, your clothes are torn, stained, sometimes half missing, and your feet are probably muddy and definitely calloused. You are not the carefully curated image of the warrior elite. You are something rarer, something far more unsettling. You look less like a courtly samurai and more like a wild wolf that learned how to walk on two legs and somehow picked up a sword along the way. And people notice. Oh, they notice. First, they laugh. Who could take you seriously? You look like you'd be better suited chasing chickens than facing seasoned warriors. But laughter turns to confusion, then fear. Because once you draw your sword, once you move, all that scruff and dirt and feral energy transforms into something terrifyingly efficient. No wasted motions, no hesitation, just pure, unfiltered violence delivered with the grace of a predator. In duels, you don't dance around trading pretty cuts for the sake of ceremony. You go for the kill, fast, ugly, final. It's not dishonorable. It's survival. It's the understanding that battles aren't won by who looks best swinging their sword. They're won by who walks away still breathing. The polished samurai? They're still worried about whether their helmet is straight. You're already inside their guard, smashing their pride into the dirt. Rumors start to swirl around you like autumn leaves. He fights like a demon. He doesn't fight to win points. He fights to survive. If you see him, run the other way. You become a living ghost story passed from village to village, whispered over cheap sake and campfires. But you don't care about reputation. You don't even care about winning fame. You care about one thing only: getting better, sharper, deadlier. Because deep inside, you know the world isn't kind to wolves. And only the fiercest survive. With the open road as your home and a sword for a pillow, you dive headfirst into a new hobby, challenging strangers to deadly combat. Some people collect seashells. You collect victories, preferably before lunch. It's a simple strategy. Walk into a new town, find the local dojo or the most arrogant swordsman standing around, challenge them to a duel, win, move on. You're like a one-man natural disaster, leaving a trail of bruised egos and broken bones wherever you go. If there were a tourism board for rural Japan, they'd be putting up warning signs. Beware, wild Ronin crossing. And the best part? No one knows how to deal with you. You're too unpredictable, too raw. You don't fight by the book, mostly because you probably never even read the book in the first place. You don't wear fancy armor. You don't bow 6 times before drawing your blade. You don't politely wait for your opponent to compose a haiku before the first strike. Nope. You size them up in an instant, find the fastest route to victory, and take it. Brutal, efficient, and without apology. Sometimes you use a real sword, sometimes a wooden stick. Once, according to later legends, you beat a man senseless with a random or you found lying around. Because for you, it's not about the weapon. It's about the mind behind it. And your mind is as sharp as the edge of a katana and twice as dangerous. With every duel you learn, not just about technique, but about people. How they telegraph their fear through trembling hands, how their eyes widen a fraction before they strike, how pride always makes them predictable. You're not just fighting bodies, you're dismantling spirits. By the end of your teenage years, your win column looks ridiculous. More victories than birthdays, more bruised opponents than there are flavors of sake. You don't stick around to bask in your fame. No trophy ceremonies, no parades. You just nod once, maybe mutter something profound like, humph, and head for the next dusty road, the next opponent, the next lesson. Because somewhere inside you, you know you're not dueling for money or even for survival anymore. You're dueling because it's shaping you into something unstoppable, something that even you are just beginning to glimpse. By the time you hit your late teens, you've developed a bit of a reputation, somewhere between fearsome sword prodigy and that slightly terrifying guy who might eat nails for breakfast. What really makes you stand out isn't just your fighting record. It's the fact that you refuse to do what everyone expects. You don't pledge loyalty to any lord. You don't tie yourself to a dojo or a warband. You are proudly and stubbornly a ronin, a masterless samurai. In a culture where who you serve is almost more important than who you are, this is basically like showing up to a royal banquet in muddy rags and challenging the host to an arm wrestling match. Respectable samurai look at you like you're some kind of walking scandal. No master, no patron, no permanent address? Surely he must be mad. But here's the thing they don't understand. Freedom is your sharpest blade. Without a master to impress, you answer only to yourself. Without political games to play, you spend your energy honing your skills instead of polishing someone else's boots. Without a castle to protect, you carry your whole life on your back. Light, fast, ready. Sure, life's rough. You don't get fancy armor handouts. You don't attend elegant tea ceremonies where noble women giggle behind silk fans. You don't even get a reliable dinner most nights. One memorable week, you survive entirely on stolen radishes and questionable river fish. But what you do get is priceless. The ability to evolve, adapt, and grow beyond the rigid limits set by tradition. Everywhere you go, lords and generals try to recruit you. Some offer gold, others offer fine horses, land, silk kimonos. A few even offer daughters, though, frankly, given your wild looks and constant smell of campfire, it's unclear if those offers are serious or just optimistic. And every time you bow sort of and refuse, because your path isn't gilded in gold. It's paved with blood, sweat, and quiet revelations. You're not here to be anyone's servant. You're here to master something bigger. The art of war, the art of strategy, and maybe the art of mastering yourself. You are Miyamoto Musashi. Masterless, fearless, and just getting started. Somewhere between your 100th duel and your 1000th mosquito bite, sleeping under the stars, something shifts inside you. Fighting isn't just about strength. It isn't just about speed. It's about seeing the world differently. You begin to realize the sword is only the surface. Beneath every clash of steel is a battle of minds, a silent conversation in feints, pressure, rhythm, and fear. Victory doesn't belong to the fastest or even the strongest. It belongs to the one who understands. So you start thinking differently. When you approach an opponent now, you don't just study their stance or their sword. You study them, how they hold tension in their shoulders, how they blink when nervous, how they hesitate when the wind gusts dust into their face. You start predicting movements before they happen, not with magic, but with brutal attention to human weakness. You realize a duel is won long before the first blade swings. It's won the moment your opponent doubts themselves. It's won the moment they feel like prey and you feel like the storm coming for them. In many ways, you stop fighting people altogether. You start fighting their intentions. This is when you truly begin to separate yourself from the rest of the samurai world. While others are busy memorizing ancient techniques and polishing the same tired sword forms, you are inventing something new, something terrifyingly effective. You turn dueling into chess played at the speed of lightning. Sometimes you win before the opponent even realizes the fight has started. A subtle shift in your stance. A smile, a real one, or something close enough to scare the life out of them. An unexpected movement, breaking all rules of style and tradition. And when they fall, confused and defeated, it isn't just because you hit harder. It's because you lived one move ahead, and they never even realized it. You start to see life itself like this. Everything is strategy. Everything is timing. Everything is the balance between stillness and sudden, merciless action. The sword is just a tool. The real weapon is the mind. And yours, sharpened by hardship, hunger, and endless battle, is becoming as deadly as any blade you could ever wield. Somewhere along the endless roads you travel, beaten, bruised, and slightly more mosquito-bitten than any legendary warrior should admit, you have another realization. Why settle for just one sword when you can wield two? Yes, 2 hands, 2 swords, a revolutionary concept that every proper samurai back in their polished castles would scoff at while carefully adjusting their very formal, very traditional armor. You, however, don't have the luxury of worrying about tradition. You worry about staying alive. You worry about winning. So you start training relentlessly. A katana in one hand, a wakizashi, the shorter sword, in the other. Most people's brains short-circuit just thinking about it. But how do you parry and attack at the same time? But the styles, the schools, the sacred forms. Meanwhile, you're out in the woods beating tree trunks into splinters, learning to move both arms independently, flowing like water, unpredictable as a summer storm. First, it's clumsy. You drop swords. You trip over your own feet. At one memorable moment, you nearly disarm yourself with yourself. But slowly, painfully, something clicks. 2 swords, not a chaotic mess, but a deadly dance. One hand deflects, the other strikes. Left, right, left. A rhythm as natural as breathing. You're no longer bound by the rigid patterns taught in dojos. You create your own rhythm, your own style, and soon your 2-sword technique, Nitten Ichi Ryu, becomes as much a part of you as your own heartbeat. The beauty of it? No one knows how to fight you anymore. Single-sword fighters are confused. Spearmen are frustrated. Archers don't even get the chance to be frustrated. Your enemies expect 1 threat. They get 2. They prepare for a sword duel. They get overwhelmed by a hurricane. The more formal samurai shake their heads in disgust, muttering into their sake about disrespecting centuries of tradition. But you don't hear them. You're too busy surviving, winning, innovating. You don't fight for style points. You fight to carve a new path through a dying, rigid world. A path where adaptability, not ancestry, is the true mark of mastery. 2 swords, 1 purpose, victory. And you're just getting started. By now, you've carved quite a reputation for yourself. You're the storm that drifts into town, flattens the local champion, and disappears before anyone can even start carving your name into a wooden plaque. But eventually, storms need bigger mountains to clash against. Enter the Yoshioka school. The Yoshioka clan isn't some scrappy village dojo. They're elite. They're powerful. Their name carries weight in Kyoto, the cultural heart of Japan, a city filled with silk robes, carefully trimmed beards, and egos the size of small mountains. The Yoshioka aren't just teaching swordsmanship. They're practically an institution. Winning a duel against them would be like an upstart garage band crashing a royal opera house and stealing the show, which naturally sounds like exactly the sort of thing you do. So you march into Kyoto, dusty, scruffy, and probably smelling faintly of river water and stubbornness. And you issue a challenge to Yoshioka Seijiro, the head of the school. Seijiro, being a proud man and utterly convinced that you are just some wild vagabond with a death wish, accepts. The fight is set. Formalities are arranged. Everyone expects it to be a swift, embarrassing lesson for you. A public reminder that proper warriors don't get outdone by wild ronin. Everyone except you. When the duel comes, there are no elaborate speeches, no dramatic poses. Just you calm as a stone in a riverbed, facing down a master of high society swordsmanship. And when the moment strikes, you don't hesitate. You smash through his defenses like a typhoon through a paper screen. Seijiro is defeated, not politely, not ceremoniously, but brutally. The once proud Yoshioka master is humiliated in front of his students, his patrons, and half of Kyoto's gossip-loving citizens. And you don't stick around to gloat. You don't strut through the streets gathering applause. You nod once, maybe tug your ragged cloak tighter against the breeze, and melt back into the city's shadowed alleys. Because in your mind, there's no final victory yet. Only the next duel, only the next challenge. You've cracked the foundation of an empire. But you know the Yoshioka won't let this insult stand. Not without blood. And you're ready for them. The Yoshioka school does not take humiliation well. Losing to some wild ronin, a man who probably sleeps closer to goats than golden screens, is not just a bruise to their pride. It's a full-body injury. So, naturally, they do what any prestigious institution with a bruised ego would do. They send in the next brother. Enter Yoshioka Denshikairo, You might say Denshikairo is the bigger, angrier sequel to Seijiro. More muscle, more rage, less patience. He challenges you to another formal duel, determined to erase the family's embarrassment, preferably by erasing you from existence. The city buzzes with anticipation. Another Musashi fight. Will the feral swordsman finally meet his match? Will honor be restored? Will someone please pass the sake? You, however, are as calm as ever. If Denshikairo thinks anger, he's going to win this fight, clearly he hasn't been paying attention. The day of the duel arrives. A crowd gathers. Bets are placed, and vendors hawk skewers of grilled fish to the excited onlookers. Because what goes better with Mortal Kombat than a light snack? When Denichiro strides into the arena, he looks like a human storm cloud, armed, armored, and just radiating fury. You, on the other hand, look pretty much the same as always. Worn sandals, simple clothes, and a look in your eyes that says, I've already figured out 3 ways to end this, and 2 of them are mildly insulting. The duel begins. Denichiro charges in, heavy and hard, trying to crush you with his brute strength. But you, being light, fast, and strategic, simply step out of range, reading his every move like a poorly written play. A few exchanges later, it's over. You land a devastating blow. Denichiro collapses. The Yoshio clan's last hope crumples into the dirt. The crowd is stunned. Again. Some gasp, some cheer, some immediately start rethinking their life choices. The once mighty Yoshio clan has now lost 2 sons to a scruffy, barefoot duelist who probably sharpened his sword on a rock that morning. And you give no speeches, no proud boasts. You simply turn and leave, silent, steady, like a force of nature that doesn't need to explain itself. But deep down, you know the Yoshioka aren't finished. They have one more desperate move left, and it's going to be anything but honorable. Defeat stings. Public, humiliating defeat? Well, that burns like pouring sake all over an open wound. And after losing not 1, but 2 heirs to your blade, the once proud Yoshio school is teetering on the edge of collapse. They have a choice to make. Accept their losses with dignity, or throw what little honor they have left into a bonfire and gamble everything on one last, desperate strike. Guess which option they choose. The Yoshio declare another duel, but this time, it's not a simple man-to-man match. Oh no, they're planning an ambush. The target, obviously, is you. The goal? To wipe that smug look off your face and restore their honor with a hail of swords. Their strategy is simple. Lure you into a final duel against Matashiro, the new, young head of the family. A kid barely old enough to shave, thrust forward as a figurehead while dozens of armed Yoshio warriors hide nearby, ready to strike the moment you show yourself. Fair? Absolutely not. But fair stopped being part of the conversation about 2 dead brothers ago. Now here's what makes you, well, you know it's a trap. You can smell it like rotten fish from a mile away. So what do? You show up early, before the ambush is fully set, before the hidden swordsmen are in position, before anyone expects you. You glide through the twilight mist like a ghost, sword already drawn. Matashiro barely has time to scream before you cut him down. A clean, fast strike, efficient as a thunderbolt. Chaos erupts. Yoshio men come pouring out of the shadows like angry ants. Dozens of them, swords flashing, shouting, cursing your name. And you don't freeze. You don't falter. You move. Fast, precise, a blur of deadly efficiency. You cut through the would-be ambushers like a blade through rice paper, slipping through their ranks, disappearing into the dusk before they can even organize themselves. By the time they realize what's happened, you're long gone, a rumor riding the wind. The Yoshio school, once the pride of Kyoto, collapses in disgrace. And you don't stick around to celebrate. You just keep walking. Because for Miyamoto Musashi, the journey isn't about revenge. It's about perfection. And perfection demands more than victory. It demands evolution. After your dismantling of the mighty Yoshio school, your legend explodes like a firecracker in a dry village square. Only instead of awe and admiration, your name carries a new flavor, fear. You're not just seen as a dangerous swordsman anymore. You're something else, something harder to define and even harder to confront. Word spreads across the provinces like wildfire. Musashi doesn't just defeat opponents, he destroys families. One Musashi is worth an entire battalion. If you see a disheveled man carrying 2 swords and smelling faintly of river mud, run. And here's the crazy part. It's not even that much of an exaggeration. At this point, it feels like armies would be better suited to fight you than individual swordsmen. One-on-one duels? Child's play. Ambushes? Try harder. Even groups of trained fighters can barely touch you. You've reached a level where facing you feels less like fighting a man and more like trying to fistfight a thunderstorm. Part of it is skill, sure. Your 2-sword technique, your strategy, your raw speed, they're unmatched. But your real secret weapon is psychological warfare. Most men are beaten before they even draw their swords. When they hear your name, they remember the stories. The boy who killed a grown samurai at 13, the ronin who dismantled the yoshio like snapping twigs, the wanderer who uses anything. A wooden or a random branch, probably a particularly angry goose if it came to it, to achieve victory. They step onto the dueling ground already sweating, already doubting. And doubt, to you, smells better than victory because you've learned something critical. A sword can kill the body, but fear? Fear kills the soul. Sometimes you win duels without even swinging. An opponent sees that cold, steady look in your eyes, that slight tilt of your head that says, "I've already killed you in my mind," and they crumble. Some surrender, some flee. A few bravely charge, only to realize too late that they're charging into a force of nature. You're no longer just Musashi the duelist. You are Musashi the storm, Musashi the unstoppable. And as you continue walking the broken roads of Japan, one thing becomes clear. It will take more than numbers, more than blades to stop you now. With the yoshio crushed and your reputation soaring, you could have done what most warriors dreamed of. Found a rich lord to serve, earned a fancy title, maybe even snagged a castle with decent plumbing. But no, you choose the road again because deep down you know castles are cages, even if they're lined with gold. And so begins the long, winding, dust-choked chapter of your life, the years of wandering. You drift from province to province like a blade caught on the wind. No plan, no map, only one constant: the search for mastery. Everywhere you go, you seek out new opponents, new styles, new ideas. Sword masters, monks, spearmen, bandits. It doesn't matter who or what they are. If they know something you don't, you want to face them. Sometimes you challenge them, sometimes they challenge you, sometimes you just bump into them while trying to steal a particularly juicy rice ball and somehow end up in a duel. Travel life is messy. Your style evolves again and again, like a river carving new paths through stone. You adapt, refine, and shed what doesn't serve you. You don't duel for money, you don't duel for fame. You duel for the thrill of becoming. Every opponent is a mirror showing you your own flaws, and every time you break that mirror, you come away sharper. Your clothing becomes even rougher, your sword even quicker, your mind even more dangerous. People start telling stories about you, strange, mythic stories. Musashi fought 3 men at once using only a fan. Musashi defeated a master spearman with a broken fishing pole. Musashi once stared so hard at a bear that the bear apologized and left. Are they true? Maybe, maybe not. But you don't bother correcting anyone, because you're not interested in polishing your legend. You're interested in sharpening your soul. And if that path leads you deeper into forests, over frozen rivers, through dusty mountain passes, so be it. The road is your home now, the endless horizon your companion. While other warriors tie their fates to lords and lineages, you tie yours only to the blade and to the endless, hungry quest for something greater than victory, something like true understanding. And you know you're getting closer. As the miles wear on and the seasons blur past you, something unexpected begins to stir deep inside your battle-hardened soul. A longing for something more. Not more duels, not more blood, not even more victories. Something quieter, something deeper. Art starts subtly. After a long day of training or travel, you find yourself picking up a brush instead of a sword. At first, your calligraphy looks like what happens when a cat runs across wet ink. Not exactly museum quality. But just like with swordsmanship, you don't expect to be good right away. You expect to become good through patience, through discipline, through relentless practice. Soon you're painting landscapes, hills, rivers, birds frozen mid-flight. The brushstrokes are almost like the movements of a sword, flowing, precise, alive, and you realize something profound. The same spirit that guides your blade can guide your hand. Swordsmanship and art are not opposites. They are twins. Both demand presence, both demand balance, both demand the ability to see the world clearly and then leave a mark on it with grace and certainty. It's not just painting either. You carve sculptures from wood. You practice tea ceremony with the care of a general preparing for war. You study poetry, philosophy, Zen Buddhism. You become strange in a way. A ronin who can kill 10 men before breakfast and paint a delicate ink wash of a cherry blossom branch by lunch. Your peers don't really know what to make of it. Musashi, the guy who crushed the Yoshio, the guy who fought Sasaki Kojiro, he's painting now? Some laugh, some scoff. You don't care because you see something they don't. Victory is temporary. Mastery is eternal. A sword wins battles. Art wins immortality. And deep down, you understand something even more important. One day, your body will falter. Your sword hand will slow. The duels will end. But your mind, your spirit, your vision, those can endure through ink, through wood, through words. You are no longer just a warrior. You are becoming a creator, carving your spirit into the world, one perfect brushstroke at a time. And as you sit by a quiet river, brush in hand, a smile ghosts across your face. The path is wider than you ever imagined, and it's only beginning. As you wander deeper into your 30s, with a trail of defeated opponents stretching out behind you like a particularly violent parade, a new name starts to reach your ears: Sasaki Kojiro. At first, it's just whispers in smoky inns and dusty crossroads. There's a man with a blade like a lightning strike. His sword is so long, it could swat a bird from the sky. He's undefeated, just like you. Interesting. You're not the type to get rattled by reputation. After all, you are the reputation other warriors have nightmares about. But Sasaki Kojiro is different. He's not some arrogant dojo master waiting to be embarrassed. He's not a desperate noble's bodyguard clinging to the old ways. He's fast, deadly, precise, and he carries a sword so absurdly long, the Monahashizo, the drying pole, that you half wonder if he's compensating for something. You don't say it out loud. That would be rude. Kojiro's style, the swallow cut, is famous. It mimics the movement of a bird's wings. Quick, elegant, impossible to predict. He's not just good. He's a force of nature, a mirror of you, but polished, regal, almost civilized. And in a weird way, you're excited. Finally, a real challenge. Not another pompous blowhard to humiliate, not another crowd of amateurs to outthink. Someone who might actually force you to reach deeper. Someone who might sharpen you in ways no duel ever has. Word eventually reaches you that Kojiro has been appointed as the fencing master for a lord. High honor, great pay, fresh clothes. You're still sleeping in barns, occasionally using your travel cloak as both blanket and breakfast napkin. But that doesn't matter, because you know paths like yours and Kojiro's are not meant to run parallel forever. They're meant to collide spectacularly. The rumors swell around you like the gathering clouds before a storm. Two undefeated swordsmen, two masters of timing and death, two legends, but only one destiny. And somewhere inside, beneath the calm and the calligraphy, the old fire stirs again. The wolf lifts its head. The blade hums with anticipation. You smile faintly because you know what's coming, and you're ready. The challenge doesn't come wrapped in gold or sung by heralds. It comes in quiet, serious words passed through wary messengers. Sasaki Kojiro has accepted. He will meet you on the battlefield. No politics, no lords, no armies, just two men, two blades, and a promise hanging in the humid air. The duel is arranged for a tiny, rocky island in the Kanmon Straits. Ganryujima, remote enough for privacy, flat enough for a clean fight, dramatic enough that the gods themselves might pull up a chair to watch. You hear the details with the same calm you've carried for years. Where others would pace nervously, sharpening blades and writing tearful farewell letters, you barely shrug. Challenge accepted. Still, you prepare, but not the way your enemies would expect. You don't spend sleepless nights polishing armor. You don't compose elaborate death poems or fuss over ceremonial garb. You don't even bother getting a haircut, judging by the wild mane you're sporting these days. Instead, you sharpen your mind. You study Kojiro the way a hunter studies dangerous prey. You learn his timing, his technique, his habits. Fast, precise, deadly at mid-range. Good, because you've already decided you're not going to fight Kojiro at his own game. That would be suicide. You're going to change the game entirely. You ask for a small boat to take you to the island on the day of the duel. You carve a wooden sword, a bakken, from N or during the ride. A simple piece of wood roughly the length of Kojiro's absurdly long blade. No polished steel, no gleaming armor, just rough wood and sharp intent. Because you understand something most warriors never learn. Victory isn't about using the best weapon. It's about using the best mind. As you ride toward the island, the wind in your hair and the salt on your skin, you feel it. The stillness before the storm, the coiling tension of two titans about to collide, the quiet, thrilling certainty that this day, this fight, will echo through time. And you smile just a little, because you're not here to survive. You're here to win. The boat bumps against the shore of Ganryujima, and you step out, cradling your makeshift wooden sword, a carved or rough and unpolished, still smelling faintly of river water and stubbornness. Across the beach, you see him, Sasaki Kojiro. He's already waiting, tall, lean, composed, dressed in elegant robes, carrying his famous Monahashizo, the drying pole. A sword so long it looks like it belongs on a ship's mast, not in a duel. He's polished, prepared, perfect. And you look like you wandered onto the beach by accident after a particularly spirited night in a tavern. The crowd, retainers, witnesses, curious fishermen, murmurs as they see you. Some snicker, some shake their heads. He's late. He's disrespectful. He's armed with a stick. Kojiro's lips tighten into a sneer. He's already angry, already off balance. Good. You intended it that way. You didn't come late out of arrogance. You came late to disrupt him, to break his rhythm before the blades even crossed. Because you understand a duel isn't won when the swords strike. It's won the moment the opponent loses control of his mind. Kojiro, unable to contain himself, unsheathes his massive sword in one fluid, beautiful motion. They say the swallow cut, his signature technique, can sever a bird's wings mid-flight, fast, precise, unbelievably deadly. But as he moves, something happens, something subtle, something critical. He hesitates, just for a blink, thrown off by your ragged appearance, your audacity, the absurd sight of a man calmly advancing with a boat and that's all you need. You surge forward, faster than a striking hawk. Your wooden sword whistles through the salty air. One single, perfect blow. The crack of wood against skull echoes across the island. Kojiro collapses. Instant. Final. The mighty Sasaki Kojiro, the swallow cutter, the fencing master, the undefeated legend, lies broken on the sand. Silence falls. Mouths hang open. The fishermen stop chewing their rice balls mid-bite. Even the gulls seem momentarily stunned. And you lower your breathing steady, heart calm. Another duel, another victory. But something in the air feels different, heavier. Because today you didn't just defeat a swordsman. You ended an era. And deep inside, you know victory will never taste the same again. Ganryujima lies quiet after the clash. The waves lazily lapping at the blood-sprinkled sand. The wind whispering through the grass as if afraid to disturb what just happened. You stand over Sasaki Kojiro's fallen body, the crude wooden sword still heavy in your hand. Victory, complete, undeniable. But as the adrenaline fades, something colder seeps into your bones. You look around. The witnesses, the samurai retainers, even the fishermen, all stare at you like they're seeing a ghost, not a man. There's no triumphant cheering, no celebratory cries, only silence. A heavy, uncertain silence that clings to your skin more tightly than sweat. Because today wasn't just another duel. It wasn't a local champion or an arrogant heir you bested. It was him, Sasaki Kojiro, a sword saint in his own right, the only man they thought could stand as your equal. And now he lies there, crumpled like a broken fan. You realize something in that moment, something you hadn't truly understood until now. At a certain height, there are no more rivals, there are no more equals, just a lonely peak high above the clouds, and you standing there alone. You turn without ceremony and walk away, leaving the body behind, leaving the stares, the judgment, the whispered legends already beginning to sprout like weeds in the sand. As you board the small boat to return to the mainland, the wooden oar-turned sword clunks against the side of the vessel, awkward and out of place, just like you feel inside. The boatman, an old man with weathered hands, rose silently, not daring to speak. You stare back at the shrinking island, a small speck of land where two destinies clashed and only one survived. Ganryujima will forever be tied to your name. Poets will sing of it, scribes will exaggerate it. Old men will argue over it in smoky inns you'll never visit. But you feel no joy, no pride, only a sense of something irreversible. The path you walk now isn't the path of a swordsman seeking glory. It's the path of a swordsman seeking meaning. In a world where fewer and fewer opponents remain, the oar creaks, the water shimmers, the wind carries your name across the waves, and you wonder quietly what's left to conquer when you've already defeated everything. Kojiro's death lingers in the air long after you leave Ganryujima. Not as a triumph, not as a trophy, but as a weight. You try to brush it off at first. Another duel, another victory, just like the dozens before it. But this one is different, because Kojiro wasn't a thug from some backwater village. He wasn't an overconfident dojo master with more pride than skill. He was a true swordsman, a mirror of your own relentless pursuit of mastery. And you killed him, not just physically but spiritually. You shattered a man who, had the world been kinder, might have stood beside you, not across from you. People celebrate, of course. They retell the story in 100 different ways. Musashi arrived late to unnerve Kojiro. Musashi carved an oar sword on the way just to mock him. Musashi struck him down before Kojiro could even blink. The tales grow bigger, louder, more ridiculous. By next month, someone will probably claim you rode to the island on the back of a giant fish and fought with a tree trunk. You hear these stories. You even smirk at a few of them. But deep inside, none of it feels like victory. It feels like the closing of a door you can never open again. With Kojiro gone, the world seems smaller, duller, a little emptier, because now you know there are fewer and fewer men left who can meet your blade with true understanding, fewer who can dance on the edge of death with you, seeing the same beautiful, terrifying truth. You didn't just defeat Kojiro, you outlived him, and somehow that feels like a heavier burden. Late at night, sitting by a lonely campfire, you catch yourself replaying the fight in your mind. Not with regret, not with guilt, but with a kind of aching respect. Kojiro was your greatest challenge, and now he's a ghost that will walk beside you for the rest of your days. You stare into the flames. The road ahead stretches onward, longer, lonelier, quieter, and somewhere inside you understand. The more victories you claim, the more solitude you inherit. It's not the jewels that will be your undoing. It's the emptiness they leave behind. After Ganryujima, the world hails you as unstoppable. The swordsman who felled Sasaki Kojiro, the ronin who fears nothing, the legend who walks among mortals. And yet, for all the admiration, all the whispered awe that trails your footsteps like dust, you feel nothing. Victory used to burn bright in your chest, a fire fueled by the thrill of survival, the hunger for mastery. Now it flickers low, starved of meaning. You wander through villages where children pretend to be you, swinging sticks and shouting your name. At inns, drunkards lift their cups in your honor, spinning tales so grand that even you wouldn't recognize yourself in them. Musashi fought 10 men at once and didn't spill a drop of his tea. He can slice a falling leaf in half from 20 paces away. He once beat an entire dojo using nothing but his glare. You smile politely when you hear these stories. You nod, you bow, you drink their rice wine, but inside it's like chewing ash because you know the truth they don't. The duels were never about fame, never about building a legend. They were about the pursuit. The endless, painful, beautiful pursuit of something perfect, something whole. And now that pursuit feels hollow. You used to dream of opponents worthy of you. Now you dream of quiet rivers, empty paths, the wind through pine trees, because there's no opponent left to chase. The world is too small now, too fragile. You watch other warriors polish their armor, polish their reputations, chase titles, and court favor. You feel like a wolf among house dogs. You don't belong in courts or castles. You don't belong on thrones or under banners. You belong nowhere and everywhere. Victory, you realize, is a strange sort of death, the death of striving, the death of hunger. You have won too much, and the price of that is solitude, deep, vast solitude that no drink, no song, no cheering crowd can ever fill. So you keep walking, not toward glory, not toward battle, but toward something quieter, something you can almost hear on the edge of the wind, a whisper of a different kind of mastery, a mastery not of others but of yourself. The road stretches on, but your footsteps begin to slow, not because of age doesn't seem to be the culprit. Your body is still in peak condition, your reflexes quicker than a striking snake. No, it's something more profound, something tugging at the very edges of your soul, hinting that the battles you must fight now are no longer external. They're internal. You begin to pull back from the life of constant duels, not out of fear of defeat, but because victory no longer satisfies you. You've vanquished giants. You've overcome masters. And in doing so, you come to the realization that the only true adversary left is yourself. You find yourself spending more time in solitude these days. Days turn into weeks, even months, as you wander the mountains and forests alone. No crowds, no challenges, just the rustling bamboo, the rushing rivers, the endless watchful sky above. The sword remains at your side, but you draw it less and less frequently. Instead, you put ink to paper, creating calligraphy that flows like water. You carve wood, shaping figures not for destruction, but for creation. The same discipline that sharpened your killer instinct now turns inward, honing your spirit. You delve deeper into the study of Zen Buddhism, not in smoky temples, but through your own personal experiences. You meditate under cascading waterfalls. You fast until your body feels lighter than air. You sit in perfect stillness, hours passing by as if they were mere seconds. You begin to understand that mastery isn't about dominance. It's about harmony, balance, knowing precisely when to strike and when to hold back. You realize that the perfect victory isn't the one where you crush your opponent. It's the one where you never have to fight at all. Conflict, you see, is like a wave. True mastery lies in stepping aside before it crashes down upon you. The wild wolf that once tore through Japan's best swordsman is still within you. But now he sits calmly at the edge of your consciousness. Not caged, not broken, but tamed, not by fear, but by wisdom. People still seek you out, of course. Young, brash individuals eager to test their skills. Old masters desperate for one last taste of glory. Sometimes you engage them in combat. Other times you turn them away with a simple word, a fleeting glance. And in both instances you emerge victorious. Because the battle for your soul, the most challenging battle of all, is one that you're finally beginning to win. Eventually, even the open road begins to feel too crowded, even the mountains too noisy. You long for somewhere quieter, somewhere where the last vestiges of distraction, fame, memory, even ambition can't reach you. So you retreat to a cave. Not a grand temple, not a castle perched atop a hill. A simple, cold, damp cave carved into the side of a solitary mountain. Its name is Rindo, the Spirit Rock Cave. How fitting. You take very little with you. A few scrolls, a brush, and some ink. Your swords, naturally, but they remain sheathed, gathering dust as the days gradually melt into months. Within the stone walls, you are no longer Musashi the warrior. You are Musashi the student, a student of stillness, a student of death, a student of life itself. The cave imparts lessons that the sword never could. It teaches you patience, in the way that dripping water slowly hollows out the hardest stone. It teaches you humility, when even the spiders spinning lazy webs above your sleeping mat seem wiser than the idle chatter of human ambition. And above all else, it teaches you perspective. For the first time, you truly see the duels, the victories, the shattered schools, and the humbled lords for what they were. They were merely shadows on the wall. The real battle was never with them. It was always with yourself. You write feverishly in the dim light, crafting essays on strategy, philosophy, the mind, and the void that connects all things. Each word is a duel against ignorance. Each sentence is a parry against ego. Your brush has now become your sword. Swift, deliberate, merciless against falsehood. In the silence of Rindo, you finally hear the faint music that had always been playing beneath the clash of steel. The song of mastery, of balance, of understanding. People occasionally come looking for you. Curious students, potential challengers, pilgrims hoping to catch a glimpse of the legend. Some you greet with kindness. Some you send away with a few hard-earned truths. But for the most part, you are alone and you are at peace with it. Because you now understand that true strength isn't about defeating others. True strength is about mastering the only thing that truly matters, yourself. And deep inside, under the stone and the silence, you are winning the greatest jewel of your life, one breath at a time. Inside the cold embrace of Rindo Cave, with the wind sighing at the entrance like an old friend, you decide that it's time. Time to pass on what you've learned. Not through another duel, not through another battle, but through words. You sit cross-legged on the bare stone, brush in hand, ink ready, and you begin to write. The Book of 5 Rings. Not a diary, not a brag sheet of your victories. A guide, a sword manual, yes, but so much more than that. A map of the mind. A blueprint for mastering conflict and mastering life itself. You divide your teachings into 5 scrolls, each representing an element: earth, water, fire, wind, and void. Each scroll builds upon the last, creating a layered strategy for anyone seeking true understanding. The Earth Book, foundations, stability. Knowing your stance, your grounding, whether in battle or in life. The Water Book, adaptability, flexibility, moving around obstacles, flowing through challenges rather than smashing headfirst into them. The Fire Book, aggression, timing, knowing when to strike, when to unleash force without hesitation. The Wind Book, perspective, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of others, not to copy them, but to better understand yourself. And finally, the Void Book, the most mysterious of all, the space between thought and action, the state of pure awareness where mastery truly resides. You write plainly without unnecessary flourishes. There's no need for grand pronouncements. Truth doesn't require decoration. Every line is hammered out like a blade on an anvil. Direct, sharp, tested in the furnace of real battle and hard-won wisdom. You don't write for fame. You don't write to impress scholars. You write because the path you've walked has shown you something precious, and it would be a crime to let that knowledge die with you. Each stroke of the brush feels like breathing life into a second self, a Musashi who will endure long after your bones have turned to dust. You know that most will misunderstand it. Some will merely skim the surface. A few might grasp its depths, but that's enough, because mastery was never intended for the masses. It is a narrow road walked by the few who are willing to endure, to suffer, to sharpen themselves against the world until they become blades in human form. And as you dot the final line on the final scroll, you set your brush down and smile. Your greatest work is complete. Your legacy is written. The seasons turn outside the mouth of the cave. Leaves fall, rivers freeze, flowers bloom, and you feel it deep in your bones. The end is near. Not a sudden enemy to be outmaneuvered. Not a sneak attack to be parried. No, this is the one opponent that no sword can defeat. Death. You greet it the way you have greeted every other opponent, with calm, with respect, without fear. Your body, once lean and unbreakable, has grown slower. The hand that carved legends from the air now trembles slightly when lifting a brush. The endless miles that you once walked without a second thought now weigh heavier on your legs. But your mind is clearer than ever. You don't cling to life like a miser clinging to coins. You don't rage against the fading light. Instead, you prepare in the way that a true warrior should, deliberately, honorably. You craft your own death the same way you crafted your jewels, with precision, with dignity, with total awareness. You dress in your finest clothes, not the robes of a lord, but simple, clean garments fit for a man who has nothing left to prove. You sit cross-legged, your swords by your side, one hand resting on your katana, the other gently on your wakizashi, not to fight, but to honor. The two blades that served you through 1,000 battles deserve to bear witness to your final breath. Your students, the few you trust, gather quietly outside the cave. They watch not with sorrow, but with reverence, because they understand. This is not a death of defeat. This is a death of mastery. You close your eyes. You breathe in the mountain air cool, sharp, alive. You feel the pulse of the earth beneath you. You feel the blood slowing in your veins. No fear, no regret, only acceptance, only peace. In one final, steady motion, you sit perfectly still and pass from this world. A warrior to the last. No drama, no desperate grasping at life. Only stillness, only strength. Miyamoto Musashi dies as he lived. Undefeated, unbroken, untamed. And as your spirit drifts beyond the veil, somewhere in the far distance, 1,000 cherry blossoms drift on the wind, and the sword falls silent. Long after your body fades into the quiet earth, your name refuses to die. It clings to the mountains. It rides the rivers. It echoes in the halls of warriors and scholars alike. Miyamoto Musashi, the man who lived by no one's rules, who carved his own path with blade and mind, who turned battles into art and solitude into a kingdom. They tell your story in ways both grand and strange. Some say you fought 100 men single-handedly. Some say you could slay a bird mid-flight with a single throw of a wooden sword. Some even say you were half demon, born not from woman, but from the storm itself. You, who once slept under trees with nothing but your swords and a stubborn will, now live on in ink and legend across scrolls, paintings, novels, and plays. Your book of 5 rings becomes a treasure not just for swordsmen, but for generals, businessmen, philosophers, anyone seeking to master conflict, mastery, or even themselves. In a world that changes with every passing season, your teachings remain stubbornly true. Observe clearly, move decisively, adapt like water, strike without hesitation, know yourself utterly. You become more than a warrior. You become an ideal, a symbol of the eternal struggle between discipline and instinct. A reminder that true mastery isn't about beating the world, but mastering the storm within. Statues are raised in your honor. Swords are named after you. Video games, manga, and movies, your spirit finds new forms that you could never have imagined, sparring across screens and pages. But none of it captures the full truth. Because the real Musashi isn't the man with 2 swords standing triumphant over broken foes. The real Musashi is the man in the cave, brush in hand, writing words for a future he would never see. The man who understood that strength without wisdom is hollow, that life without reflection is a blade without an edge. You are more than victories. You are more than battles. You are a path, a question, a mirror held up to anyone who dares to walk alone. And as centuries pass, as kingdoms rise and fall, one thing remains. Your story still whispers to those bold enough to listen. Walk the path, face yourself, become more. And somewhere deep in the stillness between heartbeats, the spirit of Musashi smiles. If someone were to ask, hundreds of years after your death, what was Musashi's greatest lesson? They might expect tales of swordsmanship, of technique, of dueling brilliance. And they wouldn't be wrong, but they wouldn't be entirely right either. Because your greatest lesson wasn't how to win a fight. It was how to live and how to die without fear. You taught that mastery isn't just about defeating others. It's about defeating the weakness within yourself. The fear of failure, the hunger for approval, the desperate need to cling to comfort and certainty. You showed that to walk the true path, you must be willing to walk it alone. Without titles, without applause, without even the promise of success. You must be your own master, your own rival, your own flame in the darkness. Through your battles, through your solitude, through the simple, fierce grace of your life, you taught this unshakable truth. Strength without purpose is hollow. Skill without spirit is meaningless. Victory without honor is ash. The duels were never the point. The blood spilled, the reputations shattered. They were just echoes of a deeper struggle. The real enemy was always within. The doubts, the fears, the illusions. And you conquered them, not with brute force, but with clarity, with patience, with relentless, merciless honesty. Your book of 5 rings isn't a book on how to kill. It's a book on how to live strategically, wisely, courageously. Even today, when a young fighter laces up their gloves, or a tired soul faces a crossroads, or a quiet mind searches for meaning in a noisy world, your spirit is there, not shouting, not boasting, just standing quietly at the edge of the path, nodding once as if to say, "You already have everything you need. Now walk." Your life was a battle, your death was a meditation, and your legacy is a call, a challenge that stretches across centuries to anyone bold enough to hear it. Be like Musashi, not because he never lost, not because he never feared, but because he chose every single day to master himself. And that, in the end, was the greatest victory of all.